All right, so everyone, picture this. You are just drowning in to-dos.
Yep.
Your inbox is totally overflowing, and you're spending way too much time on these tasks that honestly feel like a robot could be doing them.
Tell me about it.
Right. So what if you had this AI assistant that could not only, handle those tasks, but also actually learn how you work best?
And get smarter over time.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're diving into today. Upsonic, it's this AI framework that's seriously changing the game for getting things done.
It really is fascinating how Upsonic goes beyond just like simple task automation.
Right.
It's a system that actually understands and learns.
Adapts.
Yeah, adapts to your specific needs.
That's huge. So we've got a whole stack of sources here. We've got Upsonic's RIA-DME file, code snippets, even like a little peek into its directory structure.
Oh, nice.
So this deep dive, whether you're, I don't know, a big tech enthusiast who wants to build their own AI system, or just someone who's curious about the future of work.
Yeah.
This one's for you. Let's start with the basics. What exactly does Upsonic do?
Think of it like an orchestra conductor.
Okay.
But for AI,
Okay.
it can handle this huge range of tasks.
Like what?
From really simple things like answering a question to these complex multi-step processes. And it can even integrate with tools on your computer to do things like browsing the web.
Oh, wow. So is it like having a little digital worker who can just take care of all those, tedious tasks?
Exactly.
Just eat up your time?
And the best part is, Upsonic is designed to be scalable.
Okay.
You can run it on your own computer or even on these massive cloud platforms.
So it can grow with your needs.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, so whether I'm, a solopreneur trying to automate my little business or a huge company looking to streamline workflows, Upsonic's got me covered.
You got it.
Okay. Now, one thing that keeps popping up in the material is these LLMs.
Oh, yeah.
Can you break that down a little?
Yeah. So LLMs, or large language models, they're kind of like the brains behind a lot of these AI systems we see today. There are these really powerful algorithms that can understand and generate human-like text.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when Upsonic needs to, let's say, answer a question or write a report, it's using these LLMs.
That's exactly it. For those simpler tasks, Upsonic can make these direct calls to LLMs, but when it gets more complex, then it uses what are called agents.
Agents. Is that like delegating tasks to these specialized AI workers?
Precisely. These agents can handle all sorts of things.
Like what?
Multi-step processes, gathering information from all these different sources, and even using the tools on your computer to complete tasks.
Okay, so that opens up a world of possibilities. I'm picturing using Upsonic for research tasks or data entry, even things like booking appointments or managing my calendar.
Absolutely.
It's like a personal assistant.
And to make sure everything stays organized and actually usable.
Right.
Upsonic structures all of its output using something called Pydantic.
Pydantic, that sounds a little familiar, but...
It's a way to define data structures really clearly and concisely. So instead of just getting back this messy blob of text from Upsonic, you get neatly structured information that's ready for your application.
So it's almost like the information is given to you in a way that fits what you need.
Exactly.
Instead of you having to, dig through it and parse it.
You got it. And speaking of integrating tools, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Upsonic works really well with this thing called the Model Context Protocol.
Okay.
Or MCP.
All right. This is where it starts to get a little technical.
A little bit.
So break it down for me.
Yeah. So the MCP is basically like giving Upsonic access to this giant toolbox of all these pre-built functions. And these functions can do all sorts of things, like accessing websites and APIs, to processing data in different formats.
Okay. So Upsonic isn't limited to just what it can do on its own. It can tap into this whole ecosystem of external tools.
That's right.
I like that. So it's not like a closed system or anything.
Yep.
And I could actually, extend what it can do with my own code.
Exactly. We've even got some code examples in our notes that show how easy it is to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the code, there's one more thing I want to ask about. Upsonic's memory and knowledge capabilities. What's that all about?
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
You see, Upsonic isn't just this task executor. It's a system that can actually learn and remember things.
Okay, that sounds really cool, but I need specifics.
Okay.
What does it even mean for an AI framework to have memory?
Imagine you're managing this project with Upsonic, right?
Yeah.
It can remember all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
Like who's responsible for what, past deadlines, even integrates with your calendar.
Wow.
No more missed deadlines or scrambling for information.
So it's like it's learning from past tasks and using that to get better in the future.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
And this memory is like really tied in with Upsonic's agent ID system.
Oh, so each agent has its own unique ID, and their memories and experiences stay separate, even if they're working together on a shared task.
So you don't want them to get all mixed up.
Exactly.
One agent getting confused for another.
Yeah.
So memory is about the past.
Yeah.
What about knowledge? How does Upsonic handle that?
Well, Upsonic can use these knowledge bases.
Right.
Think of it like giving your Upsonic agent access to like a library of product documentation,
Gotcha.
FAQs, or even past customer interactions.
So almost like a customer support agent who can instantly pull up all the info they need to help someone.
Exactly. Or an AI research assistant
Okay.
that can look through scientific papers and news articles to find the best info for your project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you start to see the real potential. It's not just automation. It's like boosting human intelligence.
Exactly. And that's what we'll be diving into even more during this deep dive.
Oh, awesome.
We'll really look at the code, how these agents are built,
Ah.
and explore all the sort of implications of having AI systems that can learn, adapt, and collaborate with us
I like it.
in all these meaningful ways.
Awesome. So sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
I'm ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about how Upsonic can create these like specialized agents, but how do you get them to actually work together?
Well, that's where Upsonic's multi-agent class comes in.
Okay.
It's built for like coordinating tasks between all these different AI agents.
So instead of having one agent trying to do everything,
Right.
you can split up this complex task
Exactly.
into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
And then give those to different agents.
Based on what they're best at.
And their job titles.
Precisely.
Which we talked about.
And Upsonic actually has this really cool built-in thing
Oh.
where it can intelligently pick the right agent for a task. Their skills and expertise.
So it's like a project manager?
It is.
Who knows exactly which person on the team
Yeah.
is the best fit for each part of the project.
That's a great way to put it.
So it's like this well-oiled machine with all these AI specialists working together
Yeah.
to reach a goal,
I like that.
like a virtual dream team of experts.
Exactly. To give you a real example, let's say you're putting together a marketing campaign for a new product.
Right.
You could have one agent focused on doing market research,
Okay.
another writing creative copy,
Okay.
and then a third one analyzing all the data and making sure the campaign is performing well.
So these different agents are all working together to achieve something
Way bigger.
much bigger
Yeah,
than they could on their own.
that's right. And to actually see this multi-agent thing in action, we can look at some code examples.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So say you have a bunch of tasks that need to be done,
Okay.
and you've got all your agents, each with their own skills.
Okay.
The first thing you do is import the classes you need from Upsonic.
Okay.
So that would be from Upsonic import multi-agent, from Upsonic import agent, and from Upsonic import task.
Okay. So we're pulling in everything we need to create agents, define tasks, and manage these multi-agent workflows.
Exactly. And then you'd go ahead and create those agent instances,
Right.
like we talked about earlier, give each one a name
Right.
and maybe a descriptive job title so you can easily tell them apart.
So we've got our specialist agents all set up and ready to go.
Right. And this is where the real magic happens. You create this multi-agent instance and use its do method to actually get things done. You just give it a list of the agents
Right.
and a list of the tasks.
Okay.
And then Upsonic figures out which agent is the best fit for each task, all based on their capabilities.
So it would look like this. Multi-agent.do.
Right.
Researcher, writer, task 1, task 2.
Exactly. It's so simple, when you think about how complex it is behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
Upsonic is handling all those tricky parts of figuring out which agent should do what, coordinating everything, so you have to...
You can focus on the big picture.
That's...
So this is pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. I mean, it seems almost too easy to set up something so sophisticated.
Right.
It's like having an entire team of AI experts just ready to tackle anything I throw at them.
That's exactly the power of having a well-designed framework like this. It gives you all these tools to create truly intelligent systems.
Right.
Without getting bogged down in all the complicated details.
Okay, speaking of intelligent systems, you mentioned before that Upsonic lets you give these agents, like, personalities.
Yeah.
Isn't that a bit gimmicky?
I know, it might seem that way at first.
Yeah.
But there's actually a good reason for it.
Okay.
Studies have shown that when you give AI a more human-like personality.
Yeah.
It makes it feel less scary and more approachable, especially for people who aren't used to using AI.
That makes sense.
So it's not just about making them seem cute or whatever. It's about making that interaction between human and AI feel more natural and comfortable.
Yeah, human.
Right. And it's not just names and job titles either. You can actually decide how an agent responds to different things.
Okay.
Giving them this unique voice and personality that fits their role.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got AI agents interacting directly with users.
For sure.
Like in customer service or for personal assistance.
Exactly. It's all about making the interaction less robotic and more human.
Right.
Which makes it better for everyone.
Okay, so before we go too far down this personality rabbit hole,
Okay.
I want to go back to something we were discussing before.
Sure.
About Upsonic being able to remember past tasks and using these knowledge bases.
Yes.
Can we dig a little deeper into how that actually works?
Absolutely. Remember that project management example?
Yes.
So let's say you're using Upsonic to keep track of a project with a bunch of deadlines.
Okay.
And you've got tasks assigned to everyone on your team.
Gotcha.
Now, let's say one of those deadlines is coming up. Upsonic can actually remember all the past deadlines.
Okay.
Who was responsible for them if they were met on time.
Wow.
So it's got this whole history of the project's progress.
Including all the wins.
Then the failures.
The failures.
Yeah. But that data isn't just sitting there doing nothing.
Right.
The agent can use it to remind people about deadlines.
Okay.
Identify bottlenecks. Even suggest changes to the plan based on how things have gone in the past.
Wow. So it's like you've got this AI project manager who's learning from experience and getting better at knowing what could go wrong.
That's it. And this is where those knowledge bases come in even more.
Okay.
So let's say your project is developing some new software feature.
Okay.
Well, the agent could access this knowledge base full of documentation, best practices, maybe even code examples.
Wow.
To help the team do their jobs well.
So it's not just remembering stuff, it's connecting those tasks to a ton of relevant information that can help the team make smarter decisions. Yeah.
Right. And it's this ability to bring together memory, knowledge, and actual task execution that makes Upsonic so much more than just another automation tool.
It's a whole new level of intelligence.
It is a platform for building these really smart systems that can learn, adapt, and actually collaborate with us in meaningful ways.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've seen how Upsonic handles individual tasks, creates specialized agents, manages multi-agent workflows, even integrates memory and knowledge.
Right.
Is there anything else we should touch on before we wrap up?
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to step back and think about, like, the bigger picture here.
Okay.
What does all of this mean for the future of work?
That's the big question, isn't it? Is this like the beginning of the AI takeover?
You're right.
Or is it something more collaborative?
I think it's definitely more nuanced than just AI takeover.
Okay.
I think what Upsonic shows is a shift to a more, well, symbiotic, okay.
Relationship between humans and AI.
So it's not about AI replacing us, it's about us and AI working together.
Exactly. Upsonic takes care of all those tedious, boring tasks.
Right.
So we humans can focus on the things that need creativity, critical thinking, all those things AI isn't so good at.
So we should be thinking about how to use tools like Upsonic to, like, enhance our own ability.
Or augment ourselves.
And create new opportunities, not worry about being replaced by robots.
Precisely. Exactly. It's all about, like, taking advantage of those uniquely human skills.
So what, like creativity and critical thinking, problem solving?
Yeah, those are things AI, at least for now, can't really do.
So instead of trying to be better than AI at what it's already good at, we should focus on what we're good at and then figure out how to make those work with AI.
It's about finding that perfect balance between human ingenuity and what AI can do so we can create something really amazing. I'm starting to feel a lot more optimistic about this whole AI future.
You need to?
It's not some, dystopian thing where robots are taking over.
Right.
It's more like we're working together to solve tough problems and make things better.
I think tools like Upsonic can be really empowering, giving us the power to automate all that boring stuff.
Yeah.
And focus on what really matters.
I like that. Okay, before we wrap up, anything else do you think people should know about Upsonic?
I think we've covered the main points.
Okay.
But I'd really encourage everyone to check it out themselves.
But
maybe even try building something with it. You might be surprised by what you can do.
That's great advice. I'm definitely feeling inspired to experiment with Upsonic myself. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Upsonic. We hope you've enjoyed this little journey into the world of AI and its potential to change how we work in the future. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.